This is the Reporter's Notebook, hosted by Elaine Shein.
Welcome to this entry in the DTN Reporter's Notebook. DTN Senior Ag Meteorologist Bryce Anderson joins us today as we look at the winter weather forecast. Bryce, what are the key factors in the winter forecast this year?
A big feature, Elaine, is going to be how El Niño evolves in the Pacific, because the Pacific Ocean water temperatures around the equator are moving into a little bit of a warmer trend. And the temperatures are just kind of around that El Niño threshold of about 1 degree Celsius above normal. Now, as we go through the winter, it's going to be very key to the evolution of the winter pattern and how those water temperatures continue. Are they going to remain right at that benchmark, that level for El Niño presentation, or are they going to continue to warm? And that's a real question mark, frankly, at this point.
So what are some of the features that you're seeing in the winter weather forecast from NOAA?
Well, NOAA is going for a mild winter for much of the country, temperature-wise, and NOAA is looking for the El Niño influence to be fairly strong, actually, even though the conditions are not necessarily prevailing in that respect. And so most of the country with above normal temperatures and precipitation to focus over the southern tier of states, the southwestern U.S., the southern plains into the southeast, and then drier over the northern part of the country. That's a big difference from our DTN forecast, because we are going for a colder winter over the northern and central areas, along with several rounds of snowfall and basically a harsher winter than the official government forecast is calling for.
Now, what influences the DTN one?
The big influence that we see is that with a weak El Niño, there's likely to be more of a chance for some incursions, some intrusions of colder air, kind of a polar vortex revisiting, if you will. And there are some years when this has gone on. The years of 1994-95, the late 60s, 68, 69, 1977, 78. 2003-04 and 2009 and 10 are years when we have identified the conditions to be very similar to the ones that we're looking at right now. And a couple of those winters were very cold, particularly 77, 78. And in 2009 and 10, those were a couple of very cold winters.
So how does this influence farmers?
The big takeaway for me is that the heating costs would be higher if our forecast verifies this winter, and there could also be more livestock stress. Transportation could find some periods of difficulty, and there's also some question in our forecast if there would be enough moisture developed to really bring some drought relief into the southwestern United States. The Colorado and the Rio Grande valleys have very little moisture to work with right now, as everybody knows. If the NOAA forecast verifies, that would be better for that part of the country. In our forecast, it is not as promising in terms of moisture in that section of the U.S.
Now, what about other international forecasts?
Well, the European Weather Community and the United Kingdom Forecast Agency both agree with us, and so there is not just we're not just an outlier here. There's some support for this viewpoint and how the winter is going to evolve.
Thanks, Bryce.
You're welcome.
With Bryce Anderson, I'm Elaine Shein, and that's today's entry in the DTN Reporter's Notebook. Thanks for joining us, and have a good evening from DTN.
This has been the Reporter's Notebook from the DTN Progressive Farmer Newsroom.